The town of Maple Harbor, tucked away on the edge of Maine's wild coastline, wore the charm of autumn like a shawl. Golden leaves drifted down onto cobbled streets, and the sea sang softly against the rocks beyond the harbor wall. It was the kind of place people left for big cities and careers, only to dream of on rainy nights in apartments miles away. Eliza Thornton never thought she'd return, especially not with a divorce decree folded in her bag like yesterday's news. Yet here she was, 35, newly single, and standing before the house she hadn't seen in over a decade. The Thornton house hadn't aged well. The paint peeled in quiet surrender, the shutters hung crookedly, and the porch groaned under her boots. But it was still home. Inside, the air smelled of cedar and old paperbacks, and in the center of the living room stood the great stone fireplace her father had built with his own hands. Her suitcase thudded to the ground, and with it, a sigh she'd been holding for months. Eliza hadn't planned to stay long. Just enough time to sort out her late aunt's estate, settle a few legal matters, and maybe breathe. But on her second day back, a note arrived, tucked beneath her windshield wiper and smelling faintly of cinnamon. The oak tree still remembers. 7 p.m. If you do too. M. Her heart skipped. There was only one oak tree in Maple Harbor that mattered, the one by Briar Hill, where she'd carved her name alongside Miles Carter's one summer night 15 years ago. She hadn't thought of Miles in years, not since the day they'd said goodbye on the edge of the lake, promises hanging like fog in the air. He had been her first everything, first kiss, first dance, first heartbreak. But then her scholarship came, and his family's fishing business demanded routes he wasn't ready to leave. Life moved on. Or so they had convinced themselves. At 7 p.m., curiosity tugged her up the hill. The oak tree stood proud against the sunset, its branches stretched like arms remembering every whispered secret beneath them. And beneath it, Miles. He hadn't changed much. Broader shoulders, a few silver strands in his dark hair, but the same eyes. When he saw her, he smiled like she had never left. "I wasn't sure you'd come," he said. "I wasn't sure either." They stood in silence, until the wind rustled a memory between them. "I saw your name in town records," he admitted. "Knew you inherited the house. Thought maybe fate was giving us a do-over." "A do-over?" she asked, half laughing. "Yeah," he said, stepping closer. "Because I never stopped wondering who we'd have become." What followed were long walks through old paths, awkward coffees that turned into lunches, and shared stories that bridged 15 lost years. Miles still worked at the family dock but had expanded the business into a local tour company. Eliza, unsure of her next steps, began volunteering at the town library. Somewhere between chapters and tide charts, they found a rhythm that had never really left. One evening, while repainting her aunt's porch together, Miles found the box, an old shoebox filled with Polaroids, love notes, and ticket stubs. "You kept these?" he asked, holding up a faded photo of them at the state fair, cotton candy smeared on their cheeks. "I guess I couldn't let them go," she whispered. They didn't kiss that night, but their hands touched over a paintbrush, and it felt like something new beginning, wrapped inside something old and deeply known. Autumn deepened. The town lit up with pumpkins and apple pies, and Eliza found herself dancing at the local harvest festival, twirling in her boots as Miles spun her under strings of golden lights. Her laughter returned, lighter, unburdened. And one night, beneath the oak tree, he took her hand and said, "I still love you, Liza. Maybe I always have." She didn't cry. She just nodded, because love, real love, doesn't need dramatics. It just needs presence. They kissed like they had 15 years ago, slow, certain, and with the taste of possibility on their lips. By winter, the Thornton house had a fresh coat of paint, and the smell of cinnamon came not from mysterious notes but from the kitchen, where Eliza baked and Miles read the newspaper aloud. They didn't talk about forever, they lived it. Maple Harbor never made the news, but if you asked the oak tree on Briar Hill, it would tell you that the best stories are the ones rooted in time and told quietly. through love rediscovered, laughter shared, and two hearts that chose each other again. If this story touched your heart, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to Whispers of Love. Two hearts. Sparkles, tell us in the comments, would you give a second chance to the one who never stopped loving you? Deciduous tree Dizzy.